You're now tuned in to 13signsastrology.com or 13astrology.com. Both of them, just one of them is private, one is public. However, on this particular episode, I'm going to kind of do like a recap, man, on what happened yesterday to kind of sum it all up, man. Like, I got several lands, like I said, that are linked together, not only on the surface, but when I started doing my research, I tend to believe that these lands are linked together um, in what's called a underworld grid, or what's called a underground network. Back in the day, they talked about the Underground Railroad, and they talked about how like slaves that were kidnapped or whatever escaped via this Underground Railroad. So when I was a child, that's how I got fascinated with the particular concept. And when I got into studying ETs, come to find out this information was actually true, and there were caverns and grids that connect this planet. You can move on this planet in several different ways. However, I tend to find out that the underground network way is very dangerous, and it's owned and protected and policed. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit on this episode, because we visaed a lot of money or whatever to see that, to see who owned that or whatever. And the particular state that I was in come to find out, had a contract, an old contract with Area 51, which Area 51 actually started out, believe it or not, as a computer program. They eventually started buying land and owning land a long time ago, over 600 years ago. According to my research, they started accumulating and acquiring land with currency and capital, and upon the advent of certain catastrophes, a lot of this was wiped out, but some of it was protected and put into what's called an underground grid. And they got information about crystals, how to work with them, how to do certain magic, or what you would call magic. It was really high level science to cause certain shifts on this planet. Like, they're messing with one of the suns on this planet. Yeah, I said one of the suns because there's several different suns that you can interface with. Like, for instance, if you're in Canada watching this video, you're interfacing with a different sun probably than if someone was watching this video in, say for instance, Texas at the same time. Because there's different suns or whatever that you can interface with and network with. But come to find out, they got this police grid or this police system, so like a lot of this is protected. You gotta have a lot of money to even view it. So like what I viewed yesterday, it really was kind of like, most people was thinking they was watching a game or whatever, but what we was viewing and visaing yesterday via this channel, people that were participating in this, you were viewing like a portal that was open to gain information on the Akashic records and things like that have never been discovered. Deep stuff. So where we're at now is that, see, at first they thought the church was going to hold this item. Come to find out, they didn't know there was a secret underground police network, essentially, or investigative network that has even more information about this, and you have to visit these people to gain information or whatever, to even get information. So like when I talk about a lot of ET groups and how they get their information, this is how they get it. It's a library that's down there in that surface that you can get unlimited information, and it's controlled by a supercomputer. So like our currency and money and banking and all of that, and exchanges and all of that stuff is controlled in this grid. And believe it or not, our government, it's a shadow government. It operates as it's operating out of DC and Washington. They're just a landholder. However, when you get initiated into the government, you'll find out that it actually operates via the West, via Area 51, via this information I'm talking about. So a lot of what's going on now is it's kind of like internet wars or global wars going on because a lot of currency and stuff like that is locked up in what's called banks, internet banks. So they don't really, you know what I'm saying, like this information coming out, but because people are entitled to money or to credit even, or capital or investments, even business loans and stuff like that. Once you get initiated into this thing or whatever, so they don't really want you to know. So we visited a lot of money. It cost us a lot of money or whatever. I thank everybody for participating. We was able to see exactly the portal and the way that Atlantis, how this thing actually traces back to Atlantis, to where now, over the next few videos, I can actually offer proof that Atlantis had Wi-Fi technology based upon land agreements. I can actually offer proof that Atlantis had ways to talk telepathically. And they can still do this. Like when you're thinking, there's beings out there that have technology to be able to tap into what you're thinking, into your what's called your memory bank, into your mind, which is locked into your brain and your iris and all that. So these guys, they play a dirty game though, because like when you talk about, like, I'll just say this and I'll shut down. I'm not gonna say too much, but like the underground network is how this government really operates. And they saying right now that it's going to be a spike in prostitution. That's what they say. It's going to be a spike in prostitution based upon this problem, because there's a certain amount of money that has to be visaed, and it has to be visaed a certain kind of way to finish this thing out, because we can do. Because this is basically kind of caused like a shift. So like over the next 4 or 5 days, if a certain amount of money is a visa, we could get stuck in a particular part of this computer system. And that's what hopefully I don't have to go too deep into, because we'll get out of. But over the next few videos, I'm going to start building on that, because right now we're up under the jurisdiction of this particular group, man. It's pretty deep. So stay vigilant, keep studying and watching the news and seeing the updates in the government, because that's going to help you to understand what's going on in secret, and make sure that you decode all the news stories, because they're coded. And make sure that you decode all of them, because that'll help you to figure out what they're really planning and what they're really trying to do to you. And not only that, how you can profit even and benefit from this stuff. So it's deep. As I get more information, I come back up with you with information. Namaste.